Welcome everybody, thanks for coming. My name is Ben, and I'm going to run you through some of my initial major points to start, and then we will get out and do some footwork things. I want to start with my most important point. So by way of introduction, I've coached everywhere from elementary school kids on the beaches of the Philippines to I got asked to come out and work with the Russian and German national teams. I've been working with middle school and high school for 15 years now. I've been coaching since I was 14, and I've done just about every level in between. Roughly half of Riot and Sockeye at this point I coached either as high school or college players, and they're doing pretty good now. My point is that if there's anyone in the world who should teach your players about footwork, it's you, not me. You're the people that know your group and everything. Even like the little bits of footwork that I'm going to show you today are all really culturally situated. So your students know this in a different way. Or you have a player that will see some footwork that I've never seen before. Or you're going to have an interpersonal thing at Franklin that hasn't even crossed my mind. So whatever I tell you, I'm trying to show you some of this spectrum. You are going to deliver that to players. And you're the expert. So I'm glad to be here helping in any way that I can. Okay. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to break down footwork and movement. I'm going to try to break it down from what we talk to the youngest, most inexperienced players, all the way up to the absolute top club levels, and how we look at footwork drills on that spectrum. The most important thing is that your players, especially if they're young, are all going to be adults someday. And if they're adults, they're happier if they can move. They're happier if they can play sports, and they're happier if they're less injured. And when they can do this with some kind of coordination, there's a coach 15 years before saying, did my job, even if they never play Ultimate again. And the more players play Ultimate first, the more it's our responsibility to teach them something about moving and how they control their bodies. Well, this group is ready to move. You've been standing, you're sitting all day. You can go as slow or as fast as you want. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you now to do your warm-up jog like an ostrich. So however an ostrich would warm-up jog, you can do that. Like an ostrich. And now we'll switch and let's warm-up jog like a rhino. So we're rhino warm-up jog. All right, and now we're back to our normal jog. And I would like everyone to jog like Frank. That's Frank right there in the beanie. However Frank is jogging, jog like Frank. It seems a little weird, but I have all 20 of you listening to me, and with a middle school group, that's important. Also, when you mimic somebody, you're using the same brain cells that you're going to use to mimic their forehand or their jumping style. So some of these mimicking is really valuable for us to do. I'm going to give you 1 minute to get a drink or whatever you want to do, and then meet me right here. This is the corner of one box in orange tape. There's another corner. That box comes out to here. This is one Hollywood square. We have 3 of these, so there's orange, yellow, and red, and we'll do this in 3 groups so we get reps. You are not going to get the kind of reps you would in an actual workout, because we're going to try lots of new things, so I can show you as much as I can, but we'll get to try some of them. We're going to start with no focus whatsoever on how we move, just on what lines we're going to move in, so if you wouldn't mind. We have 3 moves. They are completely irrelevant. They're just so we're doing the same thing. The first is our delta. I'm going to go up to the first line. I'm going to turn, and I'm going to go to the corner, and I'm going to come back on the angle. That's it. It's delta because it's a triangle. You've already figured this out. We don't need to overthink it. X is similar. We're going to go out on the cross. We're going to turn, and we're going to go across the back, and we're going to complete the X. Enough said. We've already got that. I'm not even going to show you Z. You're going to imagine you start that direction. You probably know where you go next. You Z. Let me go ahead and we're each going to start at that corner, so this yellow corner and the near red corner. Let's divide into 3 groups, and we'll start when I say. I don't care what age you're working with, the less directions you give them, the better results you get. Okay, good. We're just going to do our delta. So at any pace that you want, You're going to go straight, across, and back. We'll do 2 on this side, 2 on the other side, and then move on to the X. Ready, go. This is where I am intentionally not filling the air with a whole bunch of coaching speak. Just going to let people learn. Yeah, and after you do 2, so once you've done it at that corner, it's actually different footwork if you come to the next corner. Yeah, and you can keep going, 2 from the other side. We are ready for the next thing. All right, that's good. Back to the green line. You've seen all 3 forms now. Now, let's start thinking about different kinds of players. I'm going to call this our middle school group, but you know that you have a middle school player who's more advanced than some of your college players. And you know that you've had club players that can't actually walk, not coordinated at least. So when I say middle school player, you are the experts that adjust this for whoever the student is. When we have those middle school players and we're really thinking about attention span, just making it fun is what we're looking for to get any kind of concentration. If I tell a middle school player to focus on his legs, well, he's on, or he or she is on their legs all day. It's hard to focus on something more. So we're going to work from the top. Reed's going to run his delta, and he's going to try to do it focusing on his head. So when he gets to one point, he's going to turn his head as abruptly as he can to try to get it pointed to the next place. I don't care about legs. I don't care about balance. Just get your head pointed. Reed, go. Good. You can watch his head. Excellent. Ashley, would you jump up? Do the same thing, but make your arms go where you want. So when you get to a point, point them to the next spot. Go for it. Good. Point those arms. Good. 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 Try this. Let's just go delta. Let's go 2 of them. And either choose your head to turn when you get to a point or your arms to turn. Ready? And out of the delta form, you can go. Puma, I'm going to stop you there. If what you told me is that you were going to give me some middle schoolers after a year with you or a season with you, and they could focus on a part of their body while doing a physical footwork drill, I would be ecstatic. We've already got where we're going. Now our next step that we're going to add at the high school level is we're going to try to be precise. I don't care about speed. I don't care about time. I want you on this line. Athletes can be accurate, so we're going to go here, and directly to the next spot, and directly to the next spot. Puma, go for it. Good. It's going to take him a little bit longer to do this, but he's controlling his body. Excellent. Franzi, will you step up and do this? Good. Now we're watching. Nice. Okay, now let's say after that 1 rep, I decided that Franzi could do this a little bit better, a little bit more precise. Instead of Franzi, do this more precise, which is hard to generalize. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a physical guide. I want her to run on this line, so I'm going to help her. Ready, go. Now, if I'm here, she has to turn tightly. Yep, there you go. I'm going to give that physical guide, and you can do this even if you can't speak the language. Let's try 2 of these each, delta form, working on being precise. Ready? Go. Precise, right on that line. Good, freeze it there. What I will occasionally do, can I see your hat for a second? I will tell players at any age, if I want to be more precise about this spot, I want you here, but you cannot touch Frank's hat. Go. Don't touch it. You might have to watch your feet. We want to get as precise as we can to that point. Frank, thank you. I'll stick my hat down in the middle of a box drill, and you can watch people learn to be more and more precise. Now, this is going to help as we get into our next level. I can already see people starting to do the next stage of our high school thinking about precision, is that as you start to turn, you can't make up for your turn just by going wider. So what people do is they take these hips and they drop them. And that's what we really like to see. If I can get 4 inches out of a high school player whenever they turn, I love it. If I can get 6, I'm ecstatic. So I go into a turn and I drop. I go into a turn and I drop. If I'm going to come here and stop, I'm going to drop and bring those hips down. Let's try X formation, dropping your hips at those 2 points. So now this isn't a running thing. This is 2 times to practice dropping your hips. That's fantastic. We'll call it there. If we can get our high school players thinking about getting low and making this, instead of I run in a big pattern, but it's a little bit different because there I get down and I do something. We're in a great spot. As we move up to that college level, we're going to start talking about having multiple ground contacts. So when Ashley goes to this point, we're not going to get her to jump out here and stab 1 foot, right? That's putting in money to an account that's going to pay off with an ACL tear someday. What we want is we want 4 or 5 ground contacts right there. So if I'm going through this first one, I'm going to try to hit it. And I'm going to come out. See, I have to drop. I'm touching the ground. Ashley, will you show us? Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. That's the basis of really effective stopping and turning directions. Let's do the same thing. Let's go delta formation, and let's go 4 or 5 touches each time. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And freeze it right there. Mark, will you run what you just ran again? Will you do exactly what you just did again? Yeah, watch Mark, everyone. Go for it. So he's coming into a stop. Good. And freeze. You see that as Mark comes down, are his feet straight underneath him? He gets into that little wider base, right? That position that every PE coach you've ever had is like that athletic position. And now they're doing it without being asked. Because you have to get here. You have to be athletic to move like this. Excellent, yeah. We're finding that little bit of a wider base. Now, one of the things that's nice about this is that if Franzi's guarding me, and I go to that line and say I'm going to come back, if I'm running and she's running with me and I go for one of these big power stops, as soon as I'm here, she knows what I'm doing, right? This is very clearly a one-leg peg down, and I'm coming back. You can guard me this time. We'll go a little bit faster. I'm more versatile if I can touch the ground. So if I come in here and she starts to turn, I can keep going. So I actually have any direction that I want still under my power. Let's do it one more time. 1 or 2 more, focusing on touching the ground a bunch, feeling like you could go in any direction. Let's just do 2 Z's each. Ready, go. Good. This group is doing a great job of getting low on each one. I like that. And you can, to coach this, as you come, I can stand right here. I can see your eyes. Come with me. And then I can say, get to here. Yeah. And I can, right? We have very different heights here. Go for it. So as you come through, I can say, get to here. Good. Yeah. And then the next time I can try to get you a little bit lower. Right? And get to here. Good. Perfect. Okay. Last thing I want to say here is that we're going to just do a delta now, but at this end of this delta, we're going to add some unpredictability. So Reed's here in line. I'm going to go 1, 2, and when I get to that corner, he's going to tell me where else to go. Because we've practiced several different footworks, I have a toolkit now that I can take from, and I can quickly pick the right footwork and do it. We're giving our players those tools that they need. So just 1 point, yeah. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to get down, I'm going to go here, I'm going to get down, and I'll be able to use my footwork and get out. We can work up to 2 points or 3 points. Let's try this once. The person behind you, just point to any one spot after they finish the first 2 of the delta. See if you can do it. Ashley for Reed, go. So you get to 1, 2, good. Good. Go for it. Good, we'll stop it there. The very best practitioners of this in the world are NFL wide receivers and young sockeye players and some riot players that have been doing this since middle school and really know these drills well. And so when they're in a game, if I'm guarding Reed and he goes one direction and then he makes a move, even if I'm not expecting it, I react down, I go with him, I hear the up call, I find it, and I can adjust my footwork. I'm not stabbing hard to move. I'm smoothly going between different pieces of this, and I have the tools, and we can give them the tools. We're going to totally switch gears now. I want you to split your groups, and I want 6 lines. See, we're so good at this. For this now, what we've done is we've gone precise from middle school through advanced club. Now I want to talk about going slow to quick. So I'm going to teach you a move here. This is called an Icky Shuffle. You've probably seen it before. All you're going to do is you're going to go line, line, off, line, line, off, line, line, off. That's all the demonstration I'm going to do. Go. The people that are doing this slowly, if that's what you feel you need, that is the most effective. Go slow. Let's try it again. Just line, line, off at any pace you want. We're back. Oh, this is excellent. Because we're at the middle school level, I don't care about any particular footwork. This is just to give us a form to move in, but we're at the middle school level, so I need to keep your attention. I need to make it fun. I want line, line off. I want the same Icky Shuffle facing sideways. Go. There are multiple different ways to do this. Okay, fantastic. That's middle school level. Keep varying it up. Keep it fun. If they come out of middle school and they feel like they can control their body a little bit and do some things, we're in a great place, right? They can take that into any sport, dance, performance. This is a good thing. As we move up the competitive chain now, what I want is I want a rep where you do every step at the exact same pace. Not only can you control your body, you can control your timing. So I don't care how slow you go. I want a metronome. Let's try that. To the other side. What we talk about is reliability of steps. When our players can reliably, I can say to a player, make 8 steps to this grate, and they can make those 8 steps because they can rely on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 being really reliable. Okay, now we're going to go up even faster. We're going to go up to the college level. What I want you to do is I want you to start as slow as possible, and by the end, I want you to be going 2% faster than you can handle. So, I'll go, this is just line, line off, line, line off, and I'm going to get too fast for myself eventually. And at some point I'm going to break down. Give yourself that moment. Let's go slow to quick. Yep, find that moment. Good. Kumi, did you feel it?
Yes, I think I did.
This is a classic productive failure where you bring your body to a failure point. It doesn't know how to handle it. And maybe your next rep, you're like, oh no, we're going too fast. I got that step. I got that one. Okay, and then you break down. And your body gets chances to make a productive failure that it can learn from. Another way to do that is to drop into the motion. So a little bit like a bike going down a ramp. I'm going to do an Icky Shuffle on this green line, and I'm going to drop into it. I'm only going to go for 4 or 5 steps because that's that quick moment, so I'm going to go. And that gives me a chance to, okay, I'll jog it out. I'll drop in and try that. Let's try a couple of drop-ins going out. Try to give yourself an overspeed moment. Good, yeah. And you can feel it. It only lasts for 4 or 5 steps. Yeah. Ashley, drop. Yeah. Let's try it going back to the low. Give yourself that drop. If that felt easy, really drop in. Just like you would do if you're a sprinter. You'd sprint some downhills, so you get your legs going too fast for your body. You'd do some dropping in as a sprinter. Just the same for quickness. Try a couple of drop-ins. So we can do drills now where we incorporate our footwork into playing. And when we do that, we're going to incorporate it not in, if Pascal's running this way, I'm never going to guard him like this, right? That's absurd, but there are moments where that might be useful. So Pascal's going to go from this blue line to the midline, across to the green line, and back. Ready, go. So I'm going to run with him. There's my 1, and there's my 2. And those little points where we're giving ourselves the tools, those can connect longer runs. We're not going to rep through that right now just in the interest of time, but that's how you can build it up to that really advanced club level, is that you're not trying to learn how to do 600 meters of Icky Shuffle, but to do 1 precisely, reliably, and quickly when it matters. Sound good? Okay, take 1 minute, shake out whatever you want. We're going to come back for the second half. Are we all ready for the next part? I would like 4 people to make a line about 5 yards apart each. Excellent. Okay, so Ultimate is a non-contact game. But we have a responsibility to our players to teach them how to understand their bodies and understand contact, because they're going to use that in all parts of the world. And contact is cool. Right? There's a reason people jump up and chest bump. It's awesome. So one of the things we can do with middle schoolers is we can try to teach them how big a body is. I'm going to run a slalom here, and I'm going to run a slalom trying not to be touched at all. If somebody can reach out and touch me, I lose. So I have to figure out how long the arms are here, right? Some are longer than others. And I'm going to try to run this slalom as quickly as I can, but completely avoiding being touched. This is going to give me instant feedback on it. Am I judging a body correctly? So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to find my line, and they're going to try to get me. And I'm going to try to get around. Franz, you want to try next?
Can I do like this?
Not only can they reach for you, they can try to surprise you.
So I cannot be here.
Well, he's going to touch you there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nobody did that.
Fish in the net. Touch. Next. Go for it. You get to find out how big a body really is.
She was way too perfect.
You want to try it?
I'm just do that, yeah.
Yeah. This is good. Bodies are bigger than you think, and you can develop an instinct for this. After 4 or 5...
They don't have their hands out. That's so mean.
It's so mean.
5 minutes into similar drills like this, you will see middle schooler players cutting this line off really intensely, closely, because they can. You can get very efficient, but you have to teach those skills. Thank you very much. We're not going to have time to run through that slalom. I do want to give us time to do more of this next one. Will you grab your J-star or disc if you have it? And as far as I'm concerned, we could use a book. It doesn't matter what we have. Now, Jacob's going to have this disc, and what I want to practice is getting a block. It would be easy with high school players just to throw the disc out in front of them, but I want to give my players more tools for how to get that. So I'm going to have Jacob turn and face this way and hold the disc out in front of you. Yeah, how about one hand just out in front of you, like you're catching it? Yeah. I'm going to stand about a step behind Jacob, and I have one step to try to get the disc and touch it. My rule, now in a game, there's some touching that's allowed. In my rule, 0 touching is allowed. So if you touch them at all, it's a foul. So, okay, I have one step. I can think about this, and I can go and touch it. Okay, well that was pretty easy. I can practice that. I can get a little bit farther. Good, so I've got that one. Now, I can go on the lefty side, a little bit farther away, and touch that. Okay, I'm still good. I can push myself there. You notice I'm doing the same footwork on either side. What's the other footwork? How could I change this? What do you mean by crossover?
You're going the same side foot of the plate?
Okay. So, and I'm going with the arm around. I can also try to go, let's do that. Let's go here and get my shoulder in. Right, I can try to get my shoulder around him. What you'll find is that either way you do this, Jacob, will you put it pretty low, actually? Either way you do this, you're going to see players that if they're judging this person they're trying to get around, it's step and go. And if you lay out and you go for this disc, you roll away. Instead of rolling onto his leg, right, and hurting somebody badly, now we're developing that instinct for, okay, roll away. I also get my head out of the way of this thing. So this is good for a couple of reasons. I can learn to do it left-handed. He can put the disc high. Go ahead and put it up. So I can go and work on this as well. What I'd like you to do is get a partner and try a couple of these. Give you about a minute. We'll lab it out, and we'll come back and talk about next steps. Take this up one step with your same partner now. This is excellent. Will you come back here? David, and what's your name? Cassandra. You do this exact same thing. I want you to walk forward. When she starts walking forward, you have 3 steps. Ready, go. Good. Now we can tune that up, right? Cassandra could start walking a little bit faster. We could give less steps. Try this with some motion. Make sure you have a little bit of space. Try this with a little bit of motion and see if you can figure out the footworks.
Ready? Yeah.
Now, I do want to make the point now, and just in the big scorecard in the sky, we have a drill where no one's throwing, no one's laying out, no one's passing the disc, and I'm having trouble getting you back here. I'm winning this practice, right? We're engaged, we're fired up about footwork stuff. This is a good place to be. So 3 things that I want to note is that as you got more competitive, you started to change a few things. You hold this disc out in front of you. So, David, give it a shot. Ready, go. I want you to watch Dave. Yeah, you go ahead and walk. Ready, go. Watch David's arm. Go. Okay. Is David swinging at the disc? Is he swinging sideways? Yeah, he's trying to get it, right? That farthest point, and he's developing that coordination to get the block where this person misses it. So that's one. The other thing that, I don't know if you noticed this, but David started out being really careful, and now he's still being really careful. He's developing a judgment for when to go around somebody. We've all seen the ultimate player that sees a disc on the other side of Cassandra and just goes, ah, and crushes them, right? That player doesn't know how to avoid the body. Where you see people that are trained, and that disc is on the other side of her, and they go huge and around, and if they crush somebody, they crush themselves, but everybody walks to work the next day. And this is a good thing. So we're seeing people not hitting at the disc, going just for it. We're seeing people finding that line. Give me 3 ways that you could make this drill harder. More advanced, more game-like. Okay, give them different starting points. So Cassandra could have the disc up in her right hand. I could start David here. He could have to get around. Sure. Good, that's one. What else?
She could run.
She could run so we can make it faster. Good, what else?
Starting facing backwards, so when you turn around, you have to judge where the disc is, high or low.
Yeah, so we could have an unpredictable disc. Cassandra, will you do the same thing where you walk and show the disc after a couple of seconds? Ready? Go. There it is. Okay, now he has to find it.
Up with the right
Yeah.
hand.
And who knows where that thing is going to be. So with our middle and high school players on Moho, we would do a drill where we take that disc out there. You're going to be a thrower. Cassandra's going to throw me the disc. I'm on offense. I'll come back to David. This drill is for David. And when I get here and chop my steps and get low and get versatile, as I come in, David comes with me, and he's going to try to block it. And he can try to block that. Good. I let him go. Then I come back here. The next person runs to me and in, and we can run live reps. If we have grass and cleats, and especially if it's wet out, the disc can come in lower. We can get lots of layouts, and we can do this for 20, 25 minutes without anybody making contact with each other. This is the basis for those really athletic plays. And then the one time that I lay out a little too close on Pumbaa and I get some body, not only can he identify that as a mistake, I identify that as a mistake, you identify that as a mistake, and we can see that as the physical error that it was. Okay, good? Good. We can move this, as you can see, we can move this into one-on-one deep. Now that they have some of those skills, we can move it into one-on-one in for a disc. We've got some footwork, we've got some handwork, and we can build those things. Questions here? Yeah, absolutely. So the question was, do you see a breakdown of this when people get more competitive? You absolutely do. So you'll see players make mistakes. And then in a game, if I make a mistake and I run into Cassandra, which is going to happen at some point, it's no longer, oh, I'm such a bad person. How could I hit this defenseless woman? It's, oh, here was my mistake. I should have done this. And I did this. Oh, is that fixable? Can I reliably do that? Is there a way to drill that difference? And then can I come at the next one and improve? Because if I get a player that comes out of a point and says, oh, I can't believe I hurt that person. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me. Guess what? They're going to do the same thing next time. I want them coming off being like, I feel horrible. I'm going to apologize. Just a second. That's what I did wrong. I'm so sorry. I totally did that wrong. I won't do that again. This is what I'll do. Right? Then we have some plan for action. And I think that you're not going to get those words, right? Those are teacher words. But you will get some of those thought processes. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is contact. Yeah, oh, sorry.
When do you use this in practice, like in terms of like form, beginning, end?
Whenever you want.
Yeah.
I've done this series for an entire practice before. Yeah. Now, on one hand, you're a coach, so you're thinking, you know, we only have 2 weeks before a game. We got to learn zone. But on the other hand, man, being able to do this, right, is pretty cool for lots of reasons. You can dance, you can wrestle, you can basically stay uninjured even when you're playing basketball. Like, there's a lot of good reasons to do this. it may be that some of your practices are more worthwhile doing physical things than getting to some of those team aspects. And whenever you watch like Ultimate on ESPN and you hear those commentators, how often do they say like, oh, that was a really good forehand form, right? Or, oh, they really stood in the right place. What you hear them say is, man, that player is quick. Or watch how agile that player is. Or do you see how that player was able to jump and then jump again? It's those physical attributes that really affect kids as they become adults, and the best players are really being able to focus on those things, or being able to maximize those. So, yeah, whenever you get a chance. Okay, last thing, I want to talk about contact a little bit. Reed, will you help me out with this? Yeah. We're going to be middle schoolers, and we're going to be middle schoolers who are going to work on using contact together. I know in Ultimate that Ultimate is non-contact, but life is not non-contact, so I'm going to give Reed and I, as middle schoolers, a game that we can play where we're not against each other, but there's still contact. We're going to go this direction, and as we do it, we're going to jump up and run into each other and bounce off. I'm not trying to knock Reed over. I'm trying to do something in a teamwork fashion with it. So we'll go a couple of steps and do it. So we'll go, oh, okay, we're learning something here. We're jumping away from each other. Good. We'll try the same thing coming back. I'm trying to give a fleshy part for him to run into. He's reciprocating, and we're learning what it feels like to be in contact. So ready, go. And this is a partner thing, right? Middle schoolers can do this. You can see what we did with our legs. We're learning as we go, like, oh, I got to get that foot up out of there because I need to protect him too. We can learn that as we go. We can go to more contact drills. Jacob, will you come up here? And Kumi, will you come up here? Actually, bring that disc. Our players don't foul on the mark, but other players do, whether by accident or whatever. So if Jacob is out here as a thrower with the disc in his right hand, and we can say, Kumi, what I want you to do is I want you to pretend to be in a fouling position. I want you to do that by putting your shoulder up on his shoulder here. Go for that. Now, if all we do from these drills is we get Jacob a little bit more comfortable in contact situations, this is a good thing. He can call fouls effectively and without yelling. He can not be freaked out. Jacob, your goal is I want you to throw a backhand over here to Mark.
Okay.
And when I say go, I want you to do that without hurting Kumi in any way.
Okay.
You're going to need to keep control of your shoulders,
Okay.
control of your elbows,
Okay.
and deal with the fact that there's some contact here.
So I can't go backwards.
I don't want you to shy away from it,
Okay.
but I want you to make sure he's safe at the end of it.
Okay. Do I still foul?
You don't even have to move.
Okay.
We've set up this position here to give Jacob a little bit of practice. Ready, go. Very doable. Now, can your middle school players do this? Some of them, maybe. Can your high school players do it? Depends where you are, who they are, but it's something you can work up to. If you come back from a game and they say, Coach, they were fouling us, you can talk about spirit and how we don't reciprocate because we're trying to be better than that. You can also give them tools to deal with that and how to think through that. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. Moving up to college level. Let's see. Mike, will you jump out here? Somebody with a little bit of heft. As I work on, you got some muscle. And that's what I need because I'm going to run a footwork drill straight through here. And Mike's going to shove me. He's shoving me to help me work on that. You can push me in any direction you want. I'm going to kind of be on this side. So it'll probably be somewhere over here. And I'm just going to do my Icky Shuffles, deal with it, and come in and keep going. If I did, let's see, what's a different one? So if I did, there I'm resetting, and I can go into that next pattern. I'm not angry at Mike, but contact is a natural part of me figuring out my footwork. So I can go a little bit, I'm going to do skipping here. And so I'm coming through, and I'm just getting a little bit, and I can keep going. And you'll notice that, you can give me a fair shove here. You'll notice where I react to it is within my body. So my legs are here. I'm not so freaked out by the contact that I throw one leg out to save me. That's a bad spot. I take that shove, though, and I can be here and get back to that athletic position. It'd be great if we could deliver that to players. Questions there? Thank you.
If you were trying to tell them what situation they would be most likely to use that skill.
Yeah, awesome. Reed, will you stand up? Pascal, will you throw a disc up in the air? Oh, look, we're going for it. And we run into each other a little bit. Or we both jump and one of us moves because of that jump. That's a pretty common situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can simulate those things, and then we can take them to one-on-ones. Lastly, Reed, will you jump up here again, actually? When we get to the advanced club level, what we want to do is we want to make contact okay for us, even if we don't use it. So if we have a drill where Reed's job is to cut out and in, while he's standing in line, the second to last person will just mess with him. And then he can make his cut. It's great for footwork because then you're not depending on, oh, there's where my feet are going to go. He has to deal with this a little bit. And then a little bit of contact in a game isn't even a big deal, right? Then he could match some other team's physicality level if their culture is they play a little bit harder or more physical. And he could play with less physical, so you can be more versatile. Yeah, Mike.
So it's just a comment. I really like that all the drills have to do with, you don't have the defender practice being physical. You just have the offense responding to that. So you're not teaching, even though you're having people role play.
Yeah. And I will say I've had really good results doing exactly that with a team and say, hey, now we're going to have the marks foul. This is why we're doing it. This is how we make it not work. And this is why we don't do this as a team. And we can frame it that way, and you'll find that players are very intelligent. They're not just going to uptake some new skill because they think it's effective. You can frame that as a culture thing. But especially for younger players, we can make these partner type things or working together type things and giving more skills than we are teaching any kind of physical cheating. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the hand fighting what you mean when you and we were...
Exactly. So we're just doing a little hand fighting. We'll do drills where we have 7-on-7 on the field. And we'll say, okay, the disc is there, white team going this direction. And while we're figuring out the situation, we'll tell them to do some milling. So 7 on each team is 14 people. We have them just mill around in a small area, so light bumping. Depending on the team, we'll work them up to heavy or really heavy milling where they're really pushing each other to try to get that testosterone out a little bit and get them sweating and then boom, make a decision. And can help simulate game situations a little bit too. Okay, I need to end there because I need to let you go. But I do want to say that as my pitch, the people at Rise Up think that you are doing the absolute world's best work. You're working with the players that are going to become not just ultimate players, but players in lots of different sports and well-trained athletes in a lot of places. If you're in the Bay Area at all, you already know the athletes, right? When an earthquake hits, they go like this. And the non-athletes go like this. They get down. But the folks at Rise Up do a great job of making these videos as usable as they can. If I'm on screen for a minute, they're behind the scenes for 100 hours doing video stuff. So there are people out there that if you think this is important, they're willing to put their lives into it. So they just want to say, through me, thank you for all that you do. Thanks for your attention. I'd love to take any questions. Appreciate it.